Now here's a cool one, a last year 1989 M-Body Chrysler Fifth Avenue. Somebody's got a good sense of humor. They've got the budget rent-a-car license plate on here. Unfortunately, Chrysler was in the business of making quite a few rental cars during this time period. These M-Bodies were in service not only as rental cars, but as taxis and police vehicles, particularly when in Plymouth Gran or Dodge Diplomat form. Fifth Avenue was more upscale and appealed to Chrysler's more traditional buyer. And it's interesting, this M-Body platform came out in 1977 as a successor to the F-Body Aspen Volare, and also was a successor to the short-lived R-Body platform that gave birth to the Fifth Avenue name. And you can see I just pointed out the unique backlight here, which was facilitated by a fiberglass cap to change the Aspen Volare roofline to something that was more formal. That's why all these have that have-to pay, and it also allowed for that Frenched-in back window I just highlighted. So that's what's underneath the vinyl roof of these. Inside, you can see this is the last model year because it's got an airbag wheel. In 1989, they added that. Very plush seats, power window switches on the door there. Has the casket handle, door handles, extreme amounts of button tufting, loose cushion leather seating. So a very old-fashioned form of a luxury car. This would be something that Chrysler would eschew just a few years later when it came out with the first-generation LH platform cars, in particular the LHS, but also the Chrysler Concorde, Dodge Intrepid, Eagle Vision. And it's overall just a really, I think, handsome car in this burgundy with red leather interior. And you can see in the back seat, there's quite a bit of room. That fiberglass cap gives you a bit more headroom in the rear. It does have an assist handle in the headliner. These cars, for suspension, have Chrysler's torsionaire ride, if you will, but it's transverse-mounted torsion bars up front and leaf spring rear suspension. So Chrysler came out with that in 1957, that longitudinally mounted torsion bars, admittedly, leaf spring rear, and kept it all the way until 1989. This is the last of Chrysler's kind of mainstream passenger vehicles with that suspension setup. And it generally works quite well. I would say the car has good handling, relatively good ride, a bit choppy compared to the GMs and Fords of the era, which is not necessarily in keeping with the luxury car aspect of this. But I would say it's pretty pleasant, and even my Plymouth Gran Fury, being the base model, is quite nice. Here you can see the faux crystal on the padded vinyl top. There's also one in the hood ornament. And these had this kind of goofy inverted headlight turn signal theme that also the late 70s LeBaron had. Not sure if I'm a fan or not, but it is what it is. Under hood, the M-Bodies came with either Chrysler Slant 6 in the early years and an optional 318 V8, or later the 318 was just made standard, and it made somewhere around 125, 135 horsepower. Wasn't very powerful. Had a version of the lean burn system on it. On my 1983 Gran Fury, I've made it what I call a less lean burn. I've richened the fuel metering in the carburetor, and it runs much better. And I've also advanced the timing pretty significantly. These have pretty retarded timing from stock, as well as lean burn, lean fuel system. There's some tricks you can do to make them run better. One thing you do have to watch out for, though, is, as I mentioned, these cars do have really retarded ignition timing from the factory, and you can advance it pretty significantly, but the lean burn computer actually keeps advancing ignition timing every 30 seconds that you have your foot on the accelerator pedal, up to, I think, a total of 7 minutes of having your foot on the accelerator pedal. And then if you go and advance the timing you get on the freeway, you may think that you're not getting any spark knock, just driving it around town. But hence, after having your foot on the accelerator for 7 minutes on the freeway, the computer has added much more timing advance. So it makes it a little harder to tune by ear to make sure that you don't have any spark knock. In any case, a discussion for another day. One other interesting tidbit, if you're a GM fan on these Chrysler vehicles, you end up putting the ignition and door key in what you would consider to be upside down into the lock cylinder, with the cut side facing up as opposed to down. And Chrysler did that. They thought that it was better for cold weather, that it prevented the lock cylinder from freezing up. Whether or not it did, not quite sure. Guessing GM and Chrysler both did testing on what was better, and they obviously reached different conclusions. But I thought I'd point that little thing out. It was something that makes me chuckle every time I put the key in the door on one of my Mopars and then engage the humorously funny-sounding starter. Although by this point, the starters sound pretty normal and spin the motor faster than the old ones do, going doo-doo-doo-doo. I can't really imitate the Chrysler Highland Park Hummingbird very well. That was my best impression. Thanks for watching this video. Until next time, take care. Thanks again for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as that'll help the YouTube algorithm serve it up to more viewers like you. And stay tuned for more. Until then, check out the video thumbnails at bottom left and bottom right for some suggestions for you. Thanks again for watching, and take care.